The Great Thousand World is a place where many clans live, each one with the desire to become the strongest of all. The great ruler, Mo Chen from the northern spiritual realm, was selected to enter the spiritual road to join the 5 great academies. He's not a peerless genius, but somehow he gets kicked out after his unknown power instantly kills 63 people. Still wanting to join the 5 great academies, Mo Chen uses all of his possibilities to increase his power and become the great ruler. Every 3 years, the Heavenly Judging Committee selects a few talented geniuses to enter the spiritual road to train and cultivate their powers. Basically, the spiritual road is the ticket to enter the 5 great academies, and Mu Chen is one of the lucky few that will be joining the road. Mu Chen starts his training and goes to the spiritual road, meeting Luo Lai, who's being attacked by others, and saves her life. Half year has passed since saving Luo Lai, but she constantly chases and attacks Mu Chen, saying her feelings for him are a distraction to her cultivation. Being the clever guy Mu Chen is, he offers to help her cultivate her powers in exchange for her not going after his neck. And while the two are flirting, they get attacked by bandits who capture Mu Chen with a magic net. After capturing Mu Chen, the ninjas go after Luo Lai, hurting her in with poison needles, angering Mu Chen. The enemies want to do bad things to Luo Lai, which triggers Mu Chen's hidden powers. Mu Chen morphs into Super Mu Chen 1, killing 63 people except for Luo Lai, and it's just the power-up. He didn't even attack anyone yet. The Heavenly Judging Committee sends him back to his realm. Mu Chen promises Luo Lai that he'll meet her at the 5 great academies. Back at home, Mu Chen meditates, and he discovers his mom's secret cultivation art, the Great Pagoda, and learns it. Due to his previous actions on the spiritual road, he's now forbidden from entering the 5 great academies through that road. However, there's another way. He has to participate and secure a slot in the North Spiritual Academy competition, an event where non-geniuses will have to compete, and whoever wins gets a ticket into the 5 great academies. In one of the fights, one of the competitors refuses to give up. Just as his opponent is about to deliver a finishing blow, Mu Chen appears and throws a rock at him, throwing the guy off. Liu Yang, Mu Chen's opponent, asks permission to fight Mu Chen, and the headmaster agrees. The fight's about to start and Liu Yang insults Mu Chen for getting kicked out of the spiritual road. Mu Chen pays no mind and poses to attack. Liu Yang attacks Mu Chen, but he deflects it while teasing his opponent. Mu Chen keeps on dodging until he loses balance and falls off the arena. However, he doesn't touch the group, so they continue. Mu Chen's enemy uses his special attack, but Mu Chen deflects it once again with the Great Pagoda Art he learned. Mu Chen then counterattacks, slams Liu Yang to the ground, and stops halfway before he can deliver the final blow. Angered by Mu Chen's victory over him, Liu Yang charges at him using the spiritual bead, but Mu Chen manages to block the attack once again. While Liu Yang flees to safety, Mu Chen secures the spiritual bead, but as the bead's about to explode, Liu Mubai, his opponent's brother, intervenes and helps Mu Chen to control the bead's explosion, preventing a catastrophe. Liu Mubai apologizes to Mu Chen and tells him to forgive his brother for being too rash, and so the North Spiritual Academy competition is over and Mu Chen, along with a few others, gets a spot to train and cultivate their powers. A few days later, Mu Chen realizes that he needs more power because the Great Pagoda Art isn't enough to get him through the spiritual training. Later, he meets Kayan, one of the winners of the previous competition. She asks him to partner with her during their cultivation training. Mu Chen agrees, but on the condition that she has to help him get the Limitless Death Seal art. Mu Chen tries to enter the library but is denied due to his low spiritual level, so he asks Mubai to get the seal for him. So Mubai enters the library, takes the seal, and gives it to Mu Chen. He warns him that no one has ever conquered the seal before. When Mu Chen removes the seal, he gets transported into the scroll's pocket dimension. Inside, Mu Chen meets the scroll's guardian and fights him. Mu Chen manages to beat the scroll's guardian. However, the 9 other guardians wake up and start attacking Mu Chen. Mu Chen tries to dodge their attacks but gets cornered, so he just morbs once again to destroy the guardians. Except he wasn't able to destroy them. The guardian just regenerates their bodies back, so Mu Chen kicks the lights off, and by doing so, a weakness appears. Mu Chen goes after the weak point and manages to conquer the Limitless Death Seal for himself and leaves the library. After a few days, the spiritual training begins. The students are now going to enter the northern spiritual fields to get beast essences to increase their power. Mu Chen arrives and teams up with Kingshan, Kayan, and Su Ling, and together, the group enters the fields. While hunting, Mu Chen's group hears a voice asking for help and meets Hong Ling, one of Kayan's rivals. Kayan sees Hong Ling's whip and takes it, only to find themselves trapped by an ape ambush. Mu Chen arrives and saves the trio, telling them that it's just a trap by Hong Ling. The Liu brothers arrive and offer them half of the spiritual fruits, a potent fruit that drastically increases their power if they help them fend off the spiritual harems guarding it. The two groups form an alliance, and together, they manage to defeat a couple of the apes. Unfortunately, they're still surrounded and the monkeys are like rabbits in the heat. Mu Chen uses the spiritual bead he got from the tournament and asks Mu Bai to assist him. Mu Bai agrees, and so Mu Chen uses himself as bait and throws the spiritual bomb, creating a massive explosion killing all the apes around. The group goes to the tree and picks as many fruits as they can while splitting their harvest. But before they can finish getting all of the fruits, another threat appears, a fire ape. Fire ape attacks Su Ling, but the duo of Mu Bai and Mu Chen manage to deflect the attack. Mu Chen tells his friends to leave and ask for backup, while Mu Bai orders his group to report what's happening. The ape goes after the fleeing group, but Mu Bai and Mu Chen chase him, using their combined power to put a stop to the beast. Unfortunately, when the beast wakes up, it goes after them. Mu Bai tells Mu Chen to use his powers as he's the only one who can do it. Mu Chen uses his powers to lure the ape into the cliff, pushing it below. Mu Bai saves Mu Chen, but when the ape hangs onto Mu Chen's legs, Mu Bai Lion Kinged him, and Mu Chen falls below, together with the ape. The group reports back to their teachers and asks for backup, so the teachers assembled a search party to look out for them. But there's a murder going on, and 5 of the students were already killed. The teachers decide to end the training there to find the other victims, declaring Mu Bai's group as the winners. However, Mu Chen arrives, bringing in the Ape King's beast essence, who was killed by another spiritual beast, winning the training. Mu Chen hears Mu Bai describing a girl who sounds like Luo Lai and chases after her. Mu Chen tracks a trail of blood thinking it's Luo Lai's, but encounters Zhu Tu instead, the thief who stole a relic from Mu Bai's family. He reveals he killed the students and fights Mu Chen. Despite the difference in levels, Mu Chen manages to land a heavy blow on Zhu Tu, forcing him to use Kayan as a hostage. The thief's harassment turns Mu Chen into his Super Mu Chen form, defeating the thief. Before leaving, the thief gave him the relic, telling him he was his master and that he'd see him again. But before he could leave, the Liu Bros arrive and subdue him. However, the thief escapes once again, though heavily wounded. Mu Bai confronts Mu Chen for colluding with the thief, but the teachers arrive and Mu Chen pretends to collapse from exhaustion. The next day, he's confronted by the teachers and the Liu brothers under the suspicion of being an accomplice, but he pretends to be unconscious again, which surprisingly works once again, avoiding interrogation. Later that day, Mu Chen slips from the fields and arrives at the Northern Spirit Academy. He later travels into the city but encounters an assassin sent by the Liu family. Mu Chen attacks the assassin, but it's pretty useless since he's inside her spiritual array. Disadvantaged, Mu Chen uses his great Pagoda Art, piercing through the roof of the spiritual array, signaling Luo Lai outside that she can break in. Luo Lai arrives and saves Mu Chen. With the two teaming up, they attack the assassin, removing her array. But now they're surrounded by her backup. Fortunately, Mu Chen's father's retainer arrives and saves the two. Luo Lai stays with Mu Chen for 3 days to help him recover and train him for the upcoming campaign in the Black Eerie Swamp. The relic that the thief had given to Mu Chen reveals that the Lius are planning something sinister. Mu Feng, Mu Chen's father, assembles their troops to prepare for a possible conflict. The night of the operation finally arrives as the Mu troops assemble at the Black Eerie Swamp's portal, with the task of apprehending the Lius. Before departing on their mission, Luo Lai reveals the reason she wants to come with Mu Chen, and that's because of the 9 Nether Bird, a legendary creature that will help her cure her poisoned body, allowing her to ascend to godhood. After hearing this, Mu Chen promises to help her save her life before leaving the swamp. After arriving at the swamp, they are immediately attacked by serpents. The troops manage to defeat the serpents, but a bigger serpent spawns and attacks them. Lu Feng then uses his spirit animal and burns the serpent to the ground, going deeper into the swamp's areas. But before they can even move on, a swarm of spirit-devouring bees attacks them. Mu Chen tells his dad's crew to leave, saying, "Nah, brah, I got this," unleashing a powerful blast, which fails, so he uses the serpent's corpse as bait, luring the beast out of their way. After he's done, he and Luo Lai follow the rest of the group. However, the bees followed them and someone pulled them into the swamp. Mu Chen wakes up on Luo Lai's lap and she tells him that they were saved by the mysterious Grandma. Grandma confronts them about their relationship with the Lius because of the bracelet she found from Mu Chen. Mu Chen reveals it's not his and someone gave it to him. Grandma reveals her past with Liu Jiangshan and she ends up being a cave dweller. Before leaving, Grandma warns them that the 9 Nether Bird isn't something they can tame. She then asks the two to pass a message to Zhu Tu, the thief who stole the Lius relic, to never go back to the swamp again. Before regrouping with his father, Mu Chen and Luo Lai encounter Zhu Tu again. Zhu Tu attacks Mu Chen, but he restrains him. Zhu Tu holds Luo Lin hostage, but Grandma arrives and stops him. The Zhu Tu asks his master to kill Mu Chen and summons the damn insects again. Mu Chen morphs once more and lures the bees in, but Luo Lin stabs Zhu Tu, which in turn angers Zhu Tu's master, who then attacks Luo Lin. but Zhu loves Luo Lin so much after being repeatedly rejected and kills his master. However, his master sacrifices herself to save Zhu because he's her son. Luo Lin saves Mu Chen once again and regroups with their team, but Zhu stops them. After deflecting the attack, the two left Zhu behind and regrouped with the rest of the team. Mu Chen's control of the Alligator King affords the team a safe passage into the 9 Netherbirds area, only to walk into the Liu's trap. Mu Chen tells his dad to buy him some time since he's got a plan. As the battle drags on longer, the Mu troops are losing their ground. But suddenly, Mu Chen arrives with a horde of spiritual bees and completely turns the tides in their favor. The Liu troops leave for the Netherbird and the Mu troops follow, only to walk into yet another trap again. Mu Chen goes solo but is confronted by Mu Bai. The two of them fight a brief duel, but Mu Chen retreats and regroups with his team. Suddenly, another trap is sprung and a horde of animals comes rushing into the Netherbird's nest, completely wiping out the Liu soldiers. Finally, Mu Chen, his father, and the Mu soldiers confront the Liu family, engaging in a 3 vs. 3 fight. Zhu also arrives with his zombie bug freaks and goes after Mu Chen. Mu Chen uses his scent and lures the freaks to jump inside the crack of the Netherbird egg using a blood soil they're attracted to. Zhu arrives and confronts Mu Chen, who throws his jacket into the egg, allowing it to absorb Zhu and his freaks. The Liu father tries to get his hands on the egg, only for the egg to consume it as well as his spirit beast. After absorbing enough power, the egg cracks and transforms into the 9 Netherbird. Luo Lai goes after the bird, but Mu Chen saves her, caging the bird inside his body. The next day, Mu Chen wakes up in his dream and finds the Netherbird trapped inside his body. His seal overpowers the Netherbird, jailing the poor girl. Mu Chen then wakes up and finds his father. He asks where is Luo Lai, but his father says that Luo Lai wants him to keep the bracelet. Later, the Mu family receives an invitation to the 5 Great Academy entry competition, as well as the gathering of the Territory Lords, which is going to be held inside the Liu territory. The academy teacher tells them that he'll take Mu Chen and his group to go and train with him for a month to prepare for the said tournament. After a month of training, Mu Chen and his friends finally mastered their techniques and traveled to the Liu territory to join the competition. Various lords and contestants from other territories gather in the arena as the tournament's about to start. The tournament starts, and after his friends dominated the arena, it's now Mu Chen's turn to fight. Mu Chen's fighting against a pleb when Mu Bai comes in and challenges him. The two start to fight and are evenly matched. However, Mu Chen's techniques have improved throughout his training and gains an edge despite Mu Bai being many levels above him. However, Mu Bai uses his Super Mu Bai 1 and transforms into his strange form, unleashing massive amounts of energy the people have never seen before, overpowering Mu Chen. In return, Mu Chen uses his great Pagoda Art and counterattacks, ascending into the sky to deliver an attack, defeating Mu Bai. Su Ling congratulates Mu Chen, but Mu Bai attacks Mu Chen. Su Ling saves Mu Chen, taking the blow for himself, which kills him. Mu Chen rushes to Su Ling, but it's too late for him to do anything. He morbs his rage into Super Mu Chen 2, charging a massive energy ball. However, one of the academy teachers wakes him up from his rage and Mu Chen manages to still his hand. Things suddenly take a turn as the Liu father holds the academy headmaster hostage, telling them that if they oppose him, they'll die. Anticipating this would happen, Mu Feng's reinforcements arrive and the competition turns into a chaotic battlefield. As the two families square off, the head of the Liu family, Liu Jiangshan, appears and turns people into his snacks. Faced with this abomination, the territory lords unite under one banner to defeat the evil god and whatever the Lius are up to, while the headmasters don't take sides. The final battle starts and the territory lords led by Mu Feng fight Liu Jiangshan. Seeing he's being titled, Liu Jiangshan powers up Mu Bai, telling him to keep the lords busy while he's healing. Mu Bai picks off the territory lords one by one, while Mu Chen evacuates the students. Mu Bai loses his mind and challenges Mu Chen to duel again. But several headaches later, he no longer wants to fight Mu Chen using the borrowed power from his tentacle grandpa. Mu Chen tries to exorcise the evil essence out of Mu Bai using his own power, but Liu Jiangshan attacks them. However, the Liu dad fights back and saves his son. This angers grandpa here and eats him, transforming him into whatever the hell this is. Seeing them lose to the mad grandpa, Mu Chen focuses his mind and talks with the Netherbird girl, asking for help. However, Mu Chen isn't able to convince her, so fights off the rampaging grandpa. As the grandpa's about to turn his dad into a meatball, Mu Chen saves his dad with the power of the Netherbird on his side and squares off with Jiangshan. Mu Chen uses his limitless death seal, but due to the Netherbird's power inside, his powers surpass grandpa's power level. The two monsters fight, but Mu Chen gets trapped by grandpa's trump card, a third hand. However, Mu Chen breaks free and summons a giant flower, striking the mad grandpa with lightning while enveloping him inside the flower. But that isn't enough because grandpa here manages to break free. And that's part of the plan as Mu Chen summons his pagoda once again to damage grandpa. Due to the strain of his attacks, Mu Chen weakens and grandpa attacks him. However, Mu Dad saves him. But grandpa has had enough and attacks him, but Mu Chen just absorbs the attack. Grandpa attacks him one last time, which Mu Chen absorbs again, ending the fight with a few casualties. Eye of Sauron appears from the sky and apparently, it's Mu Chen's mom, explaining to him his powers. After the revelation, Mu Chen goes back to normal. The story ends with Mu Chen and Mu Bai finding common ground in their rivalry. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.